Good afternoon. I don't think I'm overstating it or being hyperbolic in saying that our democracy and our Parliament is at a perilous moment. And as Greens, Mike Morrice of Kitchener Centre and myself just want, and we've been pleading with friends on all sides of the House, to pull back from taking this degree of deep partisanship and really dangerous levels of escalation of partisanship on all sides, to pull back, to step up, and to do what Canadians expect of us, which is to be grown-ups, to respect our institutions, to protect our democracy. Maintenant, je pense que notre démocratie est vraiment fragile. La question de comportement dans la chambre de commune, c'est une question clé, et c'est à nous, comme députés, de faire face à cette crise et de faire les choses comme grown-ups. We are committed as Greens to the institutions of this place and recognize that for Canadians looking at partisan politics, actually even looking at Parliament, they may want to avert their eyes. It's up to us as members of Parliament and as leaders to put Canadians first and to get back to work to ease the burdens Canadians feel. Mike, do you want to add anything?
Well, only to say that our aspiration is that this is a place where the most difficult conversations can be had in a respectful way to move towards the best policy outcomes in the interest of Canadians. As Greens, we're here today to continue to do exactly that. And I'll pass back to Elizabeth.
Should the Speaker resign? We were facing an unprecedented situation when Anthony Rota resigned in the midst of a term. Should this happen twice within one session of Parliament, I think we would endanger the very foundations of parliamentary democracy and hundreds of years of tradition. So I would like to see the Speaker and all sides of the House together as integral parts of our democracy pull back and make this Parliament work. And that will take putting some water in the wine on all sides, including the speakers.
Did Mr. Fergus take the right decision yesterday? Did Mr. Fergus take the right decision yesterday?
The question of respect for the Speaker's decisions is one that is at the essence of our parliamentary democracy, and there are no rules. It's a question of traditions and respect. And as such, I want to make sure that Greens, we never took a position, by the way, we didn't call for Anthony Rota's resignation in the face of quite wrongfully recognizing someone in the Speaker's gallery who should not have been recognized. We believe that it's important right now not to line up on both sides and throw things at each other. We need to ask that all parties, including the Speaker's office and all political parties, and every member of Parliament, look to your conscience and think what Canadians will make of this place if we continue down this road.
Can you clarify the Conservatives are saying they're worse, the Liberals are saying no, they're worse. From your vantage point in the House of Commons, how would you assess both the behaviours yesterday?
I hate to say I go very Shakespearean on all this and a plague on all your houses, but we believe in democracy, and I love all my colleagues. I think Mike and I make a point of being able to work across party lines for the good of Canadians. That's how, and it was a lot of Mike's work, to get the Disability Benefit Act unanimously passed. Every party, we worked with everyone to make that happen.
So what was your sense of yesterday?
Yesterday was a gong show, and it was a disgrace to all of us, including myself. We are all part of this Parliament, and we have to make it work. And I'm begging my colleagues to look to their hearts and look to their conscience and imagine scoring one day's points in a national news cycle is not worth making a single additional Canadian think, I'm disgusted with all of them and I don't want to vote. We have to ensure that Canadians can believe that our democracy functions, and for that, we have to get to work. Thank you.
Quand on entend les conservateurs ce matin, ils disent « M. Trudeau aussi accusait Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre, il n'a pas fait pire que M. Trudeau. » C'est quoi la différence entre les deux?
Moi, la différence pour moi, elle est simple. Je ne cherche pas qui est le coupable. Je pense que les deux ont dépassé une ligne dans le vocabulaire qu'ils ont utilisé, mais le président a pris une décision. Puis notre responsabilité comme élu à la Chambre des communes, c'est de respecter le président. Alors, à partir du moment que les élus par défaut, le chef d'un parti politique et le leader de cette organisation-là ne respecte pas la décision du président, pour moi, on a un problème démocratique. Comment les débats vont pouvoir se faire sereinement quand on a des enjeux qui sont importants à travailler ici pour nos citoyens et citoyennes de partout au pays, dans nos régions, au Québec et ailleurs.
Qu'est-ce que ça indique sur le respect des institutions au sein du Parti conservateur ou du bureau du chef?
Bien, c'est clair que ça envoie un drôle de message, puis ça ne fait qu'augmenter le cynisme de la population face à notre travail qui est ici, qui est déjà assez élevé, ce cynisme-là. Puis moi, si je me fie strictement, il n'y a rien de scientifique, là, mais au nombre de messages que j'ai reçus de mes concitoyens, de mes amis, suite à ce qui s'est passé hier ici, puis j'étais pas là, moi je faisais des biscuits pour aider les organismes de ma région, fait que j'étais beaucoup plus utile, je pense, dans ma circonscription. C'est rien de bon. Puis si les conservateurs pensent qu'au Québec, ils vont faire des gains avec cette façon de faire de la politique, je pense sincèrement que, ils vont peut-être aller chercher le 2-3 % de Maxime Bernier, mais ils vont laisser tomber un paquet de monde dans le centre qui cherche une alternative au gouvernement actuel de Justin Trudeau.
Merci.
Merci, vous avez raison.
Today, New Democrats heard troubling information released by the media in regards to the Minister of Employment and Social Development, Mr. Randy Boissonnault. We know that any potential conflict of interest or the perception of conflict of interest is something Canadians take seriously and New Democrats take very seriously. We're calling on the Office of the Ethics Commissioner to properly investigate and to provide recommendations in their investigation as to the trueness of this claim and to advise on ways that parliamentarians across the board can ensure that these instances don't continue to happen. We know there's a pattern in this Liberal government previously of issues of ethics breaches, and we want to make certain that Canadians know that New Democrats stand firm and in support of an investigation by the Ethics Commissioner to the claims made by the media in relation to a conflict of interest of the minister. In addition, our leader will be also providing comments and answering questions in relation to any other topics that the media may ask in just a few moments.
Mr. Desjarlais, just on the story that was released today, is it your view that Mr. Boissonnault broke or potentially violated any ethics laws here?
I think it's important to know that a perception of conflict of interest and an actual conflict of interest do harm to Canadians' perception of our institutions and our ability to trust them properly. But there's actually an Office of Ethics Commissioner who's responsible for this work. Members of Parliament, we don't have all the resources that the Office of the Ethics Commissioner does have, and so that's why today we're calling on the Office of the Ethics Commissioner to take seriously these claims and to properly investigate.
And Global News also published a separate story earlier this week in terms of the business ties that he had to a lobbyist who lobbied 6 federal departments and the PMO. What do you make and what does the NDP make of those ties to this lobbyist?
There's a huge issue, from ArriveCAN to other issues, of this tremendous kind of concern of lobbyists, this shadow public service that exists. We just had recently Mr. Firth present in a historic contempt case here in Parliament, another instance of the Liberal government using lobbyists and using insiders to ensure that they actually have access to the things that they need to be done, which isn't fair for Canadians, it isn't fair to the public service, which is also in addition to why we're calling the Ethics Commissioner to do the job of investigating this properly and to actually recommend solutions to end this kind of ongoing conflict or perception of conflict of interest. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.